What if I told you that most men ruin their chances with a woman with just one word? And that word, ironically, is often a compliment. Sounds crazy, right? But hear me out. Most men think the key to a woman's heart is sweet talk, flattery, showering her with praise about her looks, her charm, or her smile. They think if they just say enough nice things, eventually she'll like them back. But here's the truth. Most compliments don't work. They fall flat, they fade fast, they disappear the moment they're spoken, lost in the sea of, "You're beautiful, you have pretty eyes, you're so sexy." Why? Because she's heard it all before. From strangers on the street, from guys in her DMs, from every man who ever tried and failed to stand out. So here's the question that separates men who blend in from those who captivate. What if your compliment could actually make her feel something? Not just noticed, but seen. Not just flattered, but moved. What if your words could cut through the noise and go straight to the part of her that nobody else ever reaches? That's what this podcast is about. Today, I'm going to walk you through 6 powerful compliments. Not the kind you pull from cheesy pickup lines or Instagram reels, but compliments rooted in self-awareness, depth, and the timeless mindset of stoicism. These are compliments that carry weight, that stay with her. Compliments that don't just reflect how she looks, but how you think. Let's begin. Compliment number 1. I love the way you think. This first one might seem simple, but trust me, it's a game changer. Why? Because nobody says it. Most men focus on the obvious when they compliment a woman. Her appearance, her outfit, her smile. Maybe if they're trying to be original, they'll mention her sense of humor. But very few ever go beneath the surface. Very few ever take the time to appreciate how her mind works. That's why saying, "I love the way you think," hits differently. You're not just calling her smart. You're telling her that the way she processes the world, the way her brain puts pieces together, is something you genuinely admire. Think about it. Intelligence can mean a lot of things. Book smarts, street smarts, creativity, quick wit, depth, abstract thinking. But when you say, "I love the way you think," you're not boxing her into one kind of intelligence. You're acknowledging that her entire mental world fascinates you. And that's powerful. Why it works on a psychological level. This compliment works because it taps into something deep inside all of USD desire to be valued, not just for what we do, but for how we see. You're telling her, "I notice more than your smile. I notice how your mind moves." And here's the secret sauce. Be specific. If she says something thought-provoking, don't just nod and move on. Pause. Let it sink in. Then say something like, "I never saw it that way before. I love how your mind works." If she asks a unique question that catches you off guard, respond with, "You always ask the most interesting questions. It makes me think." If she explains something in a way that surprises you, say, "You break things down in such a clear way. That's rare." A compliment like this does 2 things at once. 1, it makes her feel deeply seen, in a way that most men never bother to explore. 2, it makes her want to keep impressing you with her mind, because now she's thinking, "He notices the real me." And once she starts thinking about how you perceive her, that's when the real attraction begins. Not superficial, not momentary, but deep-rooted emotional connection. Compliment number 2, I feel calm around you. Most men think attraction is all about fireworks. They try to be exciting, funny, loud, charismatic. They chase adrenaline and think it's the key to chemistry. But here's the truth. Excitement fades, but peace stays. In a chaotic world where everyone is distracted, stressed, and overstimulated, calm is rare. So when you say to a woman, "I feel calm around you," you're not just giving her a compliment. You're giving her a gift. Why this compliment hits harder than looks. It's not about her appearance. It's not about her sex appeal. It's about her presence. It's about how she makes you feel when she's around without even trying. And here's the twist. She probably doesn't even realize it. We live in a world where people are praised for being funny, hot, successful, stylish. But how often do people get told, "Your energy makes people feel safe. Your presence calms me"? Rarely. So when you say it cuts through the noise. It stands out. It sticks. And more importantly, it creates a subconscious emotional bond. The psychological mechanism behind this compliment. Humans are wired to seek out what feels good. We gravitate toward people who bring us peace, not chaos. When you associate her with calm subtly and naturally, her brain begins to associate you with safety, warmth, and presence. And that's the kind of bond that outlasts every "you're hot" compliment she's ever received. How to use this compliment naturally. The next time you're in a quiet moment with her, maybe after a deep conversation, a walk, or just a relaxed hangout, look at her and say, "I don't know what it is, but I feel really calm when I'm around you." Don't over-explain. Don't make it a big speech. Just say it. Let it hang in the air. She might smile. She might not say anything. But I promise you she feels it. And that feeling, that's what keeps her coming back. So, we just talked about the subtle power behind telling a woman, "I feel calm around you." It's a compliment that goes beyond surface level attraction. It speaks to how her presence actually affects your inner state. And once she begins to associate your connection with that kind of serenity, something powerful happens. Because here's the truth. We live in a world that's filled with noise, endless notifications, deadlines, tension, and chaos. And in that kind of world, peace becomes rare, almost sacred. If she begins to link you to that calm, if being around you feels like a break from the storm, she's going to want more of that. More of you. And that's when the power dynamic flips. A compliment that changes the frame. Most compliments are about pursuit. They're about seeking approval, hoping to impress, trying to win her over. But saying, "I feel calm around you," that's not about chasing. That's about noticing. It changes the frame completely. Suddenly, instead of you trying to affect her, you're acknowledging how she affects you. And that, my friend, is disarming. Because women are used to being complimented for their actions, their looks, their charm. But being told that their presence alone creates an impact? That's rare. It speaks to a deeper, quieter kind of influence, one that she might not even realize she has. And when you say it with intention not to flatter, but to reflect something, real, it sticks with her. How to deliver it naturally and genuinely. This isn't a line you toss out casually. It's something you say in a moment that already feels grounded. For example, if you're having a slower conversation and she naturally guides it into a relaxed rhythm, you can say, "You know, I feel really calm when I'm with you. You bring a different kind of energy to the moment." If you've had a stressful day and being around her feels like taking a deep breath, tell her, "Being with you just takes the edge off. I can't even explain it fully, but I really appreciate it." If she has that steady, grounded nature, the kind of person who doesn't react wildly, who listens more than she speaks, you could say, "You have a way of making things feel simpler, clearer. I think that's rare, and I respect it." These words don't scream for attention. They land quietly but deeply. And here's what's fascinating. You're not complimenting her on what she does. You're complimenting her on how she makes you feel. And feelings linger. Why this compliment creates emotional gravity. The reason this works so powerfully is because it bypasses the logical brain. You're not appealing to her vanity or ego. You're connecting with her emotional identity. You're telling her, "I see something in you, something most people probably miss. and that kind of emotional recognition, it's magnetic. Because once she realizes that just being near you makes you feel calm, centered at peaceful, she'll want to keep showing up in your life. Again and again. Not because you begged for her time, but because she feels something better when she's around you. And ultimately, people always return to where they feel most at home. Compliment number 3. You have a presence that changes the room. Now let's take this idea of presence even deeper. Most people walk into a room and nothing changes. The energy stays the same, the conversation continues, nobody notices. But some people, they step in and the atmosphere shifts. Maybe it gets lighter, maybe it gets more focused, maybe it just feels different. Those people have what we call presence. And when a woman has that, when she has that subtle ability to shift energy around Heron, you are the one who notices it, she won't forget you. Because most people focus on the visible things, her style, her face, her voice, but presence is invisible. It's felt, not seen, and when you name it, you're doing something 99% of men never do. How to spot her presence and make it count. Maybe she walks into a space and people instinctively relax. Maybe she brings an intensity that makes everything feel more alive. Maybe she draws people in without saying a word. You can say, you have this calm gravity to you. Like when you walk into a room, everything slows down a bit. Or, it's crazy, but when you're around, the vibe changes. You bring something different. I don't know if you noticed that, but I do. Or even, there's a quiet confidence in how you carry yourself. You shift the room and most people don't even realize why. Again, it's not about praise. It's about perception. You're showing her that you notice what others miss, that you see beyond the surface. And now, she sees you differently too. Compliment number 4. You make things more interesting just by being part of them. Let's finish this section with one of the most engaging compliments on the list. This one doesn't focus on her traits, beauty, kindness, intelligence. It focuses on her effect. You make things more interesting just by being part of them. This compliment tells her, it's not just about what you do. It's about what happens when you show up. And suddenly, she's curious. She's wondering, do I really make things more interesting? How? What is it he sees in me that others don't? And boom, you've created engagement. She's no longer just flattered. She's mentally involved. Why this compliment sparks desire. When you say this, you're planting a subtle but powerful idea. Your presence changes the outcome. Not everyone has that effect. Most people go unnoticed. But you're telling her, when you show up, the whole experience shifts. And now, she'll want to live up to that. She'll want to be more of what you see in her, not because you asked, but because she's curious about how you perceive Heron. She wants to keep earning that perception. That's the kind of psychology that doesn't just create attraction, it creates a lasting emotional pull. In the last compliment, we explored how telling a woman she makes things more interesting taps into something few men ever think to recognize her effect on the world around her, and more importantly, on you. That subtle awareness, that emotional resonance, it plants a seed in her mind. A question, how do I change the way he feels? How do I show up in his life in ways he never told me before? And that right there is the beginning of something deeper than simple attraction. It's the start of emotional investment. So let's keep building on that depth with compliment number 5. Compliment number 5, I respect the way you handle challenges. Desire might spark attraction, but admiration creates gravity. Most compliments focus on what's obvious: beauty, charm, maybe intelligence. But when was the last time someone looked a woman in the eye and said, "I respect how you carry yourself when life isn't easy"? That's the kind of compliment that lands not in the surface of her ego, but in the core of her character. Because let's face it, most people go through life fighting invisible battles. They deal with stress, struggles, setbacks, disappointments, and most of them do it without ever hearing, "I see what you're facing, and I admire how you're showing up." So when you tell a woman, "I respect the way you handle challenges, you're doing something rare," you're not just appreciating her results, you're acknowledging her resilience. Why this compliment is so powerful? Because it's not about what she shows to the world, it's about what she endures that the world often misses. It says, "I'm not just looking at you, I'm paying attention to your strength." But here's the trick. Like all powerful compliments, it only works if it's specific. Let's say she's dealing with a stressful job and keeps her composure while juggling everything. You might say, "I've noticed how much pressure you're under, and yet you never seem to lose your balance. I really respect how you handle things." Maybe she's going through something personal, a breakup, a loss, family pressure, and still shows up with grace and composure. Then say, "The way you've kept going through everything, that's something not everyone can do. It takes strength, and I admire that." Or maybe she stands up for herself in tough situations. She speaks her truth when others might stay quiet. You can say, "I respect the way you speak your mind. You hold your ground in ways that are strong but never arrogant. That's rare." This kind of compliment doesn't just make her feel seen, it makes her feel respected. And when a woman feels respected by you, she begins to see you as a man who values her essence, not just her image. It builds pride not in you, but in herself. And when she associates you with that feeling of self-respect, you become someone unforgettable. Compliment number 6, you inspire me. This is the final one and is arguably the most powerful. Because while most compliments look backward, what she is, what she has, what she looks like, this one looks forward. It's not about what she's done, it's about what she awakens in you. You inspire me. It's a small sentence, but it holds enormous emotional weight. Why? Because it tells her 3 things at once. 1, you admire her. There's something about her mindset, her work ethic, her spirit that you deeply appreciate. 2, she adds value to your life. She's not just attractive, she's impactful. She leaves a mark. 3, she has a role in your growth. She's not just part of your world, she helps shape the way you move through it. That's not flirtation. That's a form of emotional intimacy most people never get to experience. How to say it without sounding vague. Just like every other compliment in this list, specificity is key. Think about what she actually inspires in you. Maybe it's her discipline. She works long hours, chases big goals, and never makes excuses. You can say, "The way you keep showing up for yourself, even when it's hard, it pushes me to do better too. You really inspire me." Maybe it's her intellectual curiosity. The way she challenges your opinions, asks thoughtful questions, or refuses to settle for surface-level conversations. You have a way of challenging how I think. Conversations with you make me sharper. That inspires me. Or maybe it's her courage. The way she takes risks, speaks her truth, or faces life head on. You've got this fearlessness about you, and watching you step into the unknown without hesitation, it makes me want to be braver too. What you're doing here is more than just flattery. You're showing her that she has meaning in your life, and that meaning creates connection. Why this compliment creates emotional investment. Think about it, how often do we feel inspired by someone and actually tell them? Rarely. So when you tell her she inspires you, and you do it with honesty and clarity, she'll remember that moment. Not just because it made her feel good, but because it made her feel important. And when a woman feels like she's made a real difference in a man's life emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, she won't forget him. Because most men are chasing attention. But a few, a rare few, they speak to a woman's influence. And that leaves a deeper mark than charm ever could. Final thoughts, the art of complimenting with purpose. Let's step back for a moment. All 6 of these compliments share one thing in common. They're not about impressing. They're about perceiving, I love the way you think. I feel calm around you. You change the room when you walk in. You make things more interesting. I respect the way you handle challenges. You inspire me. These aren't lines. They're reflections. They tell a woman, I see what others overlook. And what I see, I value. That kind of attention, that kind of presence is rare, is memorable, and is powerful. Because in a world full of men chasing likes, validation, and surface level attraction, you're the one who's paying attention. And that more than words, more than status, more than gamies, what truly attracts a high quality woman. So remember, it's not about saying more, it's about saying what matters. If this message resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. There's more coming your way on attraction, mindset, and becoming the kind of man who moves with intention. Until next time, stay sharp, stay grounded, and always speak with purpose.